Hi, I'm Gohar Vardanyan, and this is a video for the Strings by Mail repertoire series. In this video, I'll be reading through one of the short pieces in this book by Kleynjans called Bye Bye. The hardest part of this piece is to be able to play the duplet meter that is in the accompaniment against the triplet meter that is in the melody. In order to be able to play them together, you have to first know what they're supposed to sound like on their own. So I'm going to play the accompaniment just for the first two measures. And then the melody. And so on. And you can play these by counting as well to make sure that you get everything right, and with the metronome. But if you wanted to count the accompaniment, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and so on. And for the melody, you would have to count triplets, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you will notice in that last measure there was one beat in the melody that is in duplet, and that's why I counted 3 and 4 and so you can tell the difference between the 4-note division and the 3-note division. So you have 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 and so on. So you would do this for the entire piece so that you know what it's supposed to sound like, and preferably with the metronome, so you always keep the pulse the same. Then you can put it together. So if I put together the first measure, the first half is really simple because the melody is held over for 2 beats, so you really don't know that it's in triplets yet, so that's fairly easy to do. The second half of that measure is when the triplet and duple meters actually collide, and you have, so you have this, which is duple, right, 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and you have the melody, 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and you go on. So if you put it together, you can see that the melody notes and the accompaniment notes, they don't coincide. And that's the hard part to do. In order to be able to make that triplet a true triplet and not just something that sounds like you're swinging it, you have to really know that division and have it engraved in you, the 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and the duplets, they need to stay their own, they have to hold their own and divide the beat in 2, while the triplet is trying to divide the beat in 3. In measure 2, that's where the melody has that one beat that is in duplet meter, which is, so you still have the same accompaniment, well, with a different note, but you have the top in duplet, so one of the notes actually, they coincide together, and you end up playing them together. But if the top was in triplet, those notes would not coincide. That's what happens in the other beat. So these kind of things happen throughout the entire piece, and you would have to divide them into little sections and make sure that you have the metronome going and you play them individually and play them together in order to be able to hear. And then when you put them together, then you still have to be able to hear each one and sing along each one and make sure it still is the true division of triplets and a true division of duplets, and not allow for the rhythm to kind of stretch or swing to accommodate each other. In terms of fingerings, I used exactly the same fingering that's in the edition, which is really good. There was only one fingering that I changed, which is essentially the same thing, it just appears twice in a row, and that's in measure 9, the second half. It's written as in and in order to avoid the fourth finger going back and forth, which is usually not the strongest thing to do because it is a weak finger and you don't want to really go back and forth with it, I changed it to, so instead of doing this, I put a bar down and I changed the F natural to 2 and the G sharp to 3. And the same thing happens in measure 10, it's identical. That way you can be more in control of the sound that you're getting without worrying the finger going back and forth. Well, I hope this helps you in figuring out the rhythm and learning to play 2 against 3, which you will find in other repertoire as well. Thank you for watching. And if you want to order this music, as always, there will be a direct link to the Strings by Mail catalog in the description of this video.